I'm doing this one as because time is running thin, and I am not going to do something that places the country into a worse position. Since the Globe decides that they think they have the right to gaslight me, the Democratic Party believes that they can use my ideas and then gaslight me. And then you have McRaven thinking he can manage me and that he owns me. He can go fuck himself. He's a traitor to the Constitution. Him and Stavridis. Period. Full stop. So, before we get going, apparently Prince William and Lady Middleton are in the United States. I don't know what their itinerary is. I haven't even watched it. I just saw the headlines and really don't care. But there's one thing, couple of things I highly suggest they do if they have not done so before, which I'm pretty sure they have not done so. They're probably doing the whole city things of think they went to saw one where they went to a game or something, a basketball game or something. Well, that's not a really just that's just one part of America, and it really and you can't. Unfortunately for them, you can't drive. They can't drive across America. That's just far too dangerous. Because to really understand America, you got to drive it. There's no other way I can explain it. When you drive it, you begin to understand it as as you see and then take into consideration history, and sometimes you can just see how history unfolded as you're driving across. But there's one that the place they do need to go. When I say need to better understand this country, not just the pretty shiny baubles. And that is I call it the Strange Fruit Museum, but it's the Lynching Memorial. This is, whether we like it or not, which is more than likely not, I'll be honest, this this is a memorial to our rule. And I say our because, well, I'm just as much as part of it as, not really part of it because I wasn't the one who did it. Neither were you. Or neither was Prince Harry. And neither was King Charles, at least at this moment. Maybe later, at the rate he's going. But to not understand, to not face ourselves is foolish. You can't understand America without understanding the darkest days of it. How these hatreds have also manifest in the behaviors and the histories. And how that is affecting today's situation, and how we've exported our worst selves. Not just us, but also the British. But understanding some of the behaviors. Now, don't get me wrong, I believe sometimes there'd be a bad behavior or terrible behavior, short term thinking over long term thinking, respecting the rights of the individual, respecting each other's humanity. Those things are fairly universal with it. Or actually, yeah, if you look back at the Greeks, because people were from a city, so they were a city as opposed to an individual. But still, in general, it's at least within from the period of enlightenment until now. This is a place that you need to go visit. It's a solemn place, but you need to go visit. If you're going to be here, if you're going to, send you in different places that you should probably go. Highly recommended. Not just the places that everyone's going to, and in the order that you go. Now, you might still have within your itinerary, and it's going to be a bit of a rush and all that, but you have the resources. I would suggest you do so. From there, go to Mount Rushmore, and actually St. Louis. See the the arch. It's really not much. It's just a flat plain, but something about the arch is kind of neat. The simple pride of American ingenuity. Around Mount Rushmore, middle of nowhere. It might be a little chilly and cold. I don't know if it's snowing now, so it might not be open. And then there from to Jackson Hole. The Grand Tetons have to be experienced. If you've never gone there, it cannot be explained. There is no other way of explaining it. It has to be experienced. And then possibly go to Texas because of all the oil. But then head to Seattle after that. There's a rhythm difference there compared to the middle. And then from there, maybe you can go down and see your brother. But if you really want to see America and understand it in a very visceral way, it is highly suggested. You follow this path laid out. Now, the main reason of this video is this with Mr. Jay-Z. Now, I listened to Ari's statement, and he was talking about yep. But a lot of times they put that you go into that not knowing that most people don't know that they have property rights. Prince was brilliant. He originally didn't know, then he learned, and then he's like, screw this, I'm taking my property rights. Unfortunately, Taylor Swift lost all of her property rights because she sold them. Things like that. But not knowing that it's the property that matters. The ability to create an asset. And then you're trying to, oh, I'll show you what you're doing right now by not paying me, by stabbing me in the back, by trying to sit there doing all this crap. I'm not the one who fucking shat on you, dude. You're doing what the bigots want you to do. And you're pissed because I'm calling you out on it. You and all of Black America. How you keep yourselves impoverished and poor. Just like Fresh and Fit said, anytime somebody tries to help you, you go attacking. Where do they put where do immigrants put the liquor stores? In the hood. Where do they start off making their money? In the hood. Anytime you try to help a black person, what do? They do exactly what you're doing right now, which is exactly what McRaven, who is trying to overthrow the Constitution, wants you to do. McRaven and Stavridis, plus the Carlyle Group, BlackRock, and all the Southern bigot planners who've moved all over the place. But that's still mindset. You're being slaves. McMahon, those things, said put one of your proteges, because I'm not one of your proteges. I don't need your shit, because that's what you're trying to do. You owe me. No, I should have to. Is what yours would say. I shouldn't have had to deal with this bullshit in the first place. And you owe me. Now, here in Ari's thing, started off with about the flag and the Constitution and the not the and the national anthem, and all of this is just, yeah. I've known what a national. I've known about the second verse for a while, long decades actually. But just as you use the word Negro, because I will call each other that, which is absolute bullshit, personally, and try to transmute that name, that word, you should, and you know, if you don't like it, make a thing for America the Beautiful. Have you tried that? Nope. But you're good at complaining, but you're not very good at doing. It takes bravery. The very first verse to which we know, just because the darkness is underneath does not mean we should still teach the darkness and say this is our dark part. But here is what we must from this darkness we bring it to this light. But we must be aware of our darkness to bring it to that light. It takes bravery to take the darkness and bring it to light. But right now, you, Dre, all the gangbangers, you're just being bigots. You're being worse. And it's not even the fact that you're bigots, you're allowed to be a bigot. But here's the situation: you have a moment, an opportunity to help your people, to help the world, to stop a complete genocide of billions of people, and all you're worried about is your complaints. You're terrified. No matter what bullshit you say, you're terrified. How do I know? Because I know I was terrified. I'm still terrified. I know I'm not living through this. Yeah, whatever. I've made a choice about my name, and it will always be written into the history books as one who stood when history called. Yours won't. At least not right now. Right now, you owe me 9 million, 19 million, because every day I add a million to the pile. And it's nothing about money. It's about stabbing me in the back out of jealousy and pettiness, holding the Democrat, and then you have McRaven and you both using my systems. Democratic Party wins, and then say, "Well, we're not going to pay you," and say, "See how it feels? Like you think I haven't gone through this before in some other way?" But here's the thing: a contract is a contract with only two visual witnesses. Well, I have the whole fucking world. And what it signals to the independents, and the kids have already said, if you don't get stuff done, Democrats will never be in power again. They'll just take over the Republican Party or whatever. From my perspective, I will still my state, because I probably won't be here, will be destroying the Democratic Party after I leave, all for $200,000 because you're trying to steal my thing, my name, and think I'm going to put up with it. Keep gaslighting me and think I'm going to put up with it. And then whine and complain and not do and step up to the plate when time states it's time to step up to the plate. Because what was, you know, because I need that money so I can finish my duty. But I'm not going to go to DC because I'm not going to go to DC and do this now with McRaven believing he and Stavridis believing and all the 1% bigots believing that they have management and ownership over me, to include you. You think you have management ownership over me, which you don't. We'll continue the same bullshit system that's going on right now, and that's not what I'm here for. That's not my purpose. They play you like a fiddle, and they're playing you like a fiddle right now. Democratic Party owes me $200,000. They used my whole system to win. You then got a couple of them with McRaven's tactic as far, but he of elevating certain ones, but that was only to get the data, so that way he can bring them to use them for his presidential run, which will probably go against Vice President Harris. And then you and Tiffany Cross, was one of the main reasons she actually lost her job, loses Georgia. I mean, Stacey Abrams gets thwalloped. And she can say, "Oh, but we did." No, you didn't. I was listening to your messaging. I was listening to her messaging. I was hearing her nervousness on it. Those that were kind of wondering, a bit racist, those are the only ones you're really worried about. The bigots were going to bigot, and you see what Kemp did. We know how badly they have gerrymandered. And quite honestly, I suggest Stacey Abrams goes with it for it again, but this time and only this time after voting rights is passed. If you have the guts. But you have Tiffany Cross all bitching about all the being black, 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 black. Yeah, just puking all over the fucking place. Yeah, they did horrible shit. But you need to create a coalition to get shit done. And guess what? The 1%'s fucking everybody. While you're being so blackety black, you're off putting to those who can help you. And you don't have enough humility to admit to it. And here's the one thing that I found very interesting within Ari Melbers. He was going through some of your, I know 360 contracts suck. Your your poetry, which it's cool. But there was one part in it. Where was it? Where is it? This. This is what you're doing to me. I'm not doing anything to you. I'm actually trying to help. I'm using the power that I have. And all you're doing is whining and complaining. You want to put a hole in me. McRaven wants to put a hole in me. The bigots are trying to control my life. They're making you think, oh, I work for. No, McRaven he's a traitor. He is using his name for corporate entities illegally, using my name. And then they're using you to attack me as I'm trying to help you. And And you're buying and falling for it, all of black America falling for it, like you always do. And you don't wind up fucking, you have to face the darkness to see the light. And then you say, and then you're going to immediately, let me guess, right? Actually, I don't have to guess because I heard it. That's your cowardice speaking. That's your lack of humility speaking. You're willing to put your fear above your own people and helping me save the world. Helping me at least try to stop World War III, to create something new. But you're so jealous and so whatever. Hey, I grew up just middle class. You're jealous of the fact that I didn't grow up in the hood. Fuck that, not my problem. Come from an education. Why would I want to live in that place? Period. The end. But thank you. You're for creating it so I didn't have to grow up that way. You know, actually not thank you, but I thank your parents and grandparents for actually having the courage, unlike you, when history called, to do what was necessary. History's call, and you were sitting there being the biggest pussy there ever could be. You and the gangbangers talking all this shit, doing nothing except being played by the same people who want to enslave you. Or say, re-enslave you. I'm going to call Don again today about 1 o'clock. If he picks up or doesn't pick up will depend with the fate of the world. Because if you try to say, well, you got to make this, and I've already made my money. I'm going to do what's necessary for me. And then you're going to say, well, my duty is to the Constitution, and I'm not going to do something that creates the same situation to where it can be turned over and in 2 years from now, win the battle, lose the war. That's stupid. And especially I'm not entering in with everyone thinking they can, like I'm their little, like they think they have, as McRaven and Scrivitas are playing this whole thing and try to say, if you do this, he'll do that, and put this pain thing here, having all these seals and shit. Everyone's trying to kill me, so he has to just keep waiting. No, fuck you. So I'm not gonna have to. No, I'm not doing it your way. I'm gonna do it my way. You're gonna pay me. I'm gonna do what I have to take care of. Democratic Party's going to pay me. You're going to do that too as well. And it needs to be done today. Because if it's not done today, that means you think, the Democratic Party and you believe that you own me. Nobody owns me. Period. The end. I'm not going to drive to Washington. I'm not wasting my money. They're trying to push me out onto the streets. So, okay. I'm just going to make my money. Figure out what I got to do. But once I come back, because they'll probably kill me once that happens. And then I'll have my estate sue them into the ground. Not that big of a deal. It is what it is. But I'm not going to freaking uphold the Constitution just for these bigots to fucking do the exact same thing they were doing before. That includes the black bigots who keep getting played. Same shit. So you're doing the exact same shit you bitched to everybody else about. You're no better. Actually, you're worse. So you wanted to play the great game? You think you're going to be safe? No. You're not. Because now you're going against the crown. And while these large corporations and all this are very powerful, and they're trying to overthrow the crown, your behavior is going to your behavior directly works to overthrow the crown of Great Britain and the Commonwealth. Guess what? It's going to happen to you. You won't have a pot to piss in. by the time that we are done with you. Because your behavior directly affects the life and death of the royal family. Your unwillingness to find humility and just complain and whine is going to have millions, if not billions, of people's lives ended. This is not this is the great game. This is what the great game is about. Life and death. You just wanted to step into this arena, but then you didn't want to have the courage to do what's right by your own people. That's what's so disgusting about you. And Dre, and all you gangbangers. Talk a lot of shit. You can't say I'm talking shit. I put up. I did what something my fucking whole life has been plopped onto the fucking internet someplace. You've interfered with my freaking life. You're gangbanging whatever the fuck asshole. Threaten my life. All for some fucking used up pussy. Get the fuck out of here. Nah. Yeah, I learned about 360 contract a while ago. Who cares? And it is and especially if it's written wrong, it's a pretty shitty deal. But then Spotify is not paying out any on streaming rights either. Yeah, that's nice. Don't care. You want to be royal, but you don't want to do the duty of what it means to be royal. You've interfered with my life. I didn't want any of this. Just a simple life, just like my sister. Simple life, go snowboarding. My time, my 20s and 30s is past. That was my time. Didn't happen. Oh well. Still have my goal. Go, some real estate. Go buy my house in Vail. Try to put some bullshit like I want a crappy condo over fucking UPS store. Get the fuck out of here. I know exactly where I want to live, and it's not even so much about having the place in Vail. It's just mostly just there's a target. Keeps me on track. Pisses off the Texans. Easy day. Go snowboarding. Try to be done with things. This is annoying. So while your super ego is all pouncing your chest and, you did it, and everyone's trying to say who and how I'm supposed to be, no. You're interfering with my life. I don't give a fuck about you. You were never supposed to know. Anyone was supposed to know about me. Period. Just some weird dude who goes snowboarding. Who drives around in a van. Maybe goes to the Med, do whatever, Mediterranean, smokes pot, dreads. Woo. Simple. That was the rest of my life. So while you're making all of this shit and everyone's thinking, well, we're going to control him, and then you're going to say, oh, you saved the Constitution, here's these contracts, so that way we can control you. Go fuck yourself. First off, you're using my name without my permission. And Don, it was supposed to be in agency. This means you do as I ask, not in brokerage. I'm not your agent. So everything is null and void. That's why I said in agency. I was very specific with my language. McRaven has everyone gaslighting me. You got Ron LeGrand using now saying, "Oh, we created this phone thing, and we're going to use your words, but we're then going to try to sell it to you." Get the fuck out of here. This is like the same time when I would sit there and do consulting. It's executive. I was trying to knew the guy at the executive bar, cigar bar in Melbourne, the owner. No, I leave, come back, and he goes, "Hey," he shows me this, and I told him, "Hey, you do this thing, blah blah blah." And, comes back and he has this crap system that's absolutely horrible. Trying to show me like, see, right? Go fuck yourself. I'm so tired of dealing with people and their shit, and that's why I don't do anything. That's why I set my systems the way they are for my freedom. And you think I'm gonna give it away to anybody? Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourselves. Oh, you want people to make me feel? You think I put up with all this shit, all this crap, all these years? Bad credit, whatever. Don't really care. You want to show me? You show me shit. I already know. Who's showing the world? No, you're not. You're just being a little crappy little. You just come up with excuse after excuse after fucking excuse. That's all you are is excuse after excuse. McRaven's trying to overthrow the country. You think you want to be, well, Beyonce's the queen bee. We're the royalty. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, we got a house bigger. I don't care. They're afraid, and you don't stuff out fear with more fear. They're terrified of me. They're not terrified of you, Jay Z, Dre. But so you are attacking the thing that they're terrified for them, the bigots. The white working class, because they're terrified of, oh God, they're going to do what we did to them. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. I don't really care. I don't have that racist stupidity. If I don't like you, it's because you're being an asshole. And most people tend to be assholes. Then they go, well, you're hard on people when you work with them. You're driven. Yeah, I'm driven. I am a very driven man. There is no person who has ever wrestled in their youth who is not very fucking driven. I'm embarrassing McRaven. No matter how he wants to spin it and slice it. See here, I have counted over this last 2 years at least 20 plus people once again to my one. And I just keep kicking his ass. Because if he was in this exact same position, he would not have survived. He would have been dead a year and a half ago. And he knows it. I have proven his incompetence. And you keep helping him over him and the family and these evangelicals who are the ones who are non-signatories to the Constitution overthrow the Constitution. The tool that bigots are most afraid of. Haven't 14th Amendment should have been used years ago. It has not been used. And here is the moment in history. We have 3 fucking weeks, four, maybe four, if you may force them to stay through Christmas, to change the world, stop World War III, save billions of people's lives, and all you're worried about is yourself. But you want to be cool. You want the rights without the responsibility. You want to live in the past instead of building a future. Duh, I've known about this for years. Whoop-dee. It's called tripe. That's what we call it. I hated it when my mom cooked that shit. It smelled so bad. You're not. It's not like we weren't taught both in Jamaica. To be a true aristocrat, you have to know bottom to top. goat's head soup. I, I know that shit. I know why a Jamaican food's so damn spicy. I get all this. I understand that history. But I also understand the behavior that leads back to that history as opposed to lead forward. The way they were able to bamboozle you in the 1990s and remove so much of the black population and then turn it in and put it into prison and imprison it and destroy the absolute culture. And then they use that music to create more hatred and then keep prisons full. So much so that they're so confident they can say, you need to keep this many people in prison. Tell towns that. So I'm going to give you the power. You think you have power. You have no idea what you can't fathom. History is called. And all you're doing is running. I need my money so I can do what I need to do to finish to complete my mission. But part of that mission is not letting these assholes think they own me. Just like you. Say, nobody owns me, but they're owning you right now. They're not afraid of you. They're terrified of me. Once the Democratic Party gives me pays me like $200,000 that they owe me, they'll be then terrified of you. Once you pay me the money for stabbing me in the back at 19 million, they'll be extremely terrified of you because you won't be doing what they expect you to do. And 19 million and you're a billionaire, that's nothing. It's considered as a down payment. Buying into having a seat at the table. Tiffany Cross is all talking about shouldn't be working with those people. I am those people. I am both master and slave. I'm like, yeah, super blackety black. Yeah, there's no doubt to it. Because African is a dominant trait, dominant skin trait. I had never met my grandfather. I saw a picture of him once. And it was actually a picture, it was a painting. All I knew was, yeah, I grew up in Florida. That's about it. And everyone would get jealous for shit I didn't know. I'm just trying to do my thing. And then my sister-in-law just completely destroys our family. And the irony of the whole thing with her, she could have had way more. I'm not giving her shit. And if my brother tries to think he's going to weasel his way, nope. I will destroy him before I allow that to happen. Because they can play him just like they play you. And they are playing him like a little fiddle. And he used to think he can bully me. Like, remember I had tried that crap and I threw him across. I threw him outside once and I threw him down on the ground. Like, no, motherfucker. I give my dad that much. The beating stopped when I picked up the frying pan. Lesson learned. Stand up for yourself. And the irony is, my mom's playing that shit, putting the mind lock on, and he was kicking my ass so I would have an education, so I'd use my mind. Only thing he knew. And then my mom was playing her little shit that she learned the more she was around black Americans and poor people. The more she destroyed Dolores, the more abusive she became. The more she forgot who she is, the worse she became. The more cowardice she became. The more she became like you guys. The weaker and the more lying she became. And that's sad. Because as she became weak, she destroyed my brother with the help of my sister-in-law. Then she tried to destroy my sister, and my sister was able to hold out a little bit. She just wanted a normal life, and she got it. Her husband gave it to her. And I thank him for that. Meanwhile, they scapegoated me and dumped all their shit onto me. And then you think, oh, you're supposed to just take that. No, I'm not. We were. No, you weren't. I was listening. I'm always listening. All the lies. You learned to listen to what people said. Not to what people said, but to what they meant. He became wise. Orson Scott Card, Ender's Game. So all of your whining is a bunch of BS. You don't think Caucasian Americans aren't hurting as well? You don't think that there's Filipino Americans or Asian Americans, or just working class people, just want a shot at it? Maybe they blow it. That's fine. Most people just want a shot or share. And it can't be done unless everyone shows up. And your behavior is so off-putting to Caucasians. They're not going to show up. And then they're going to see all the bunch of black folks show up, possibly, because and black folks might not even show up either. And then it's going to be a bunch of faggots. And they go, oh, look at the blacks and the faggots again. And that's going to signal to the bigots, civil war. But if it's a coalition of everyone, straight, Caucasian, black male, Caucasian, black male, straight, leading the fight, independents, people who just know they might still be racist, but they know good behavior is good behavior, that universal truths are universal truths. The bigots don't have a chance. But the road you keep going down, you keep trying to, as you're getting played by the Carlyle Group, BlackRock, Kennedy, Iger, the Mercers, and all these others who own all these other outlets, plus whoever else is in Europe. You're telling the world that you can be played. And this is how they play you. And they'll just do that after, like, oh, look, the Negroes held to the Constitution. Good, well, okay, we'll just throw them under the bus later. Nah, not going that way. Not putting my name to that. General Milley, Secretary of Defense Austin, McRaven, and Stavridis are traitors to the Constitution of the United States of America, and they are threatening the crown of Great Britain and as myself. he still believes that because yesterday I ordered a Grubhub, and every time I've ordered Grubhub, they've sent one of their drivers, and then they paid him, and they've done, this time they sent it over down the street, so now I know where they're located. And go to the gym. They try to have somebody follow me, and try to intimidate me, steal my writings. Then Kennedy does counter writings to it. The traitors to the Constitution. Their goal is to overturn the Constitution. The Southern bigots, their oath wasn't to the Constitution as your oath, and my oath was, or is. Their oath was to the Southern Constitution, to the CSA, and to the corporations. My mission is to uphold the Constitution, but I'm not going to uphold the Constitution of the CSA. I will only uphold the Constitution of the United States. Democratic Party will not pay me for use of my intellectual property because McRaven is playing everybody, getting it to make it like it's a game, knowing damn well he's a traitor. He's also trying to cover his tracks because he's been placing bigots all throughout the SEAL ranks, putting his finger on the scales. So it's not the best people that get through. It's only bigots and psychopaths, which aren't the best people. Because psychopaths are not very good at usually competing. And then I'm not saying they're not effective, but you're not getting the best product because of his, quote, reign, because he believes he's above the law right now. So do understand this. He keeps attacking me. I will use the power of my station, and I will remove him from this life because he is trying to assassinate me in extrajudicial reasoning only for his personal ego. And I will defend myself. And if he says, well, he'll have all of his team come in, well, that doesn't matter. He'll be dead. MI6 will take care of him because this is a matter of state. He is no longer the state. He's retired. So he's acting as a regular citizen, viewing himself to be above the law. Him and Stavridis. President Biden, you are the head of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party won because you used my systems as a consultant, because I've held myself out as a brand and marketing consultant for at least a decade. And I stated that was what it was. Well, what you did is you used my system as a strategy, used one tactic by McRaven, and then you didn't use the tactic. You used Jay-Z and Tiffany Cross, helped, Reverend Warnock was smart enough not to listen to Tiffany Cross and Jay-Z, and he kind of understood what I was saying. He was already that way anyways, so he continued on the path, and they were very much responsible for Stacey Abrams' loss. Now, I said $200,000 is a down payment and $1 million for each win. That any independent person would say that's a good deal. Here's a little bit for your time, and then if you win, that's the American way. If you lose, no, you don't get anything. But if you win, you get paid. You get paid. There's especially no Caucasian American who would say, no, that's a bad deal. Especially for your ability and how many eyeballs you're bringing in. How I can do it by the numbers. I know how to do that too. Remember, business, which actually should be more. I actually should have charged you more, but that's fine. And then and it's not a, and remember that's my professional ability. Saving the Constitution as my duty, I didn't have to do that. That's about is just Congress. Because I'm not going to be political. I don't be political out. You know, if you give a contribution, that should be something you do on your own in your own private. You've you've abused my privacy. You've my First Amendment rights to privacy, religion. God know what other rights you have violated, and your oath is to uphold the Constitution. And you've violated my constitutional rights, and there's nobody. And you're going to say, well, and McRaven's trying to say, well, you can't prove it. I've already proven it. And you're going to lose the independence because by not paying me, because they're going to say, because that's proof that the Democrats, i.e., niggers, aren't worth their salt. Can't be trusted. Can't shake a man's hand and look him in the eye and then get the job done. Now we know that a lot of bigots, they do the act. This is how they behave, and that's why Black Americans are so untrustworthy. Usually, you and I both know this. You know, you got caught saying, "Oh, Obama is very eloquent," and everyone got all insulted about it. But it's the truth. They just don't want to hear it. They didn't want to face their darkness. This is the moment of history. This is what you want to leave as your legacy. I need my $200,000 so I can complete my mission. And you know how us D-boys are about our mission. And when I have my capital, that means you're saying you're acknowledging me as a human being. You're acknowledging that this situation is real, and you're acknowledging me as a human being, that I am a free agent, and that I am doing what I'm doing out of, as I believe, as a citizen, not by being manipulated or controlled by this asshole who thinks he's going to overturn the Constitution. Because technically you work for me. And then when you say, well, technically I work for, well, you know what I mean? Work for the Joint Chiefs because of the gag order or whatever. No, can't have that. That has to be removed, has to be taken off the table, and it has to be Citizen Upton Jackson upholding the Constitution. And the citizens happen to also be royal, which is still hard for my brain to wrap around, but I just don't really care. I gotta do what I'm gonna do. I will not be having somebody, because once this is done, all these people are gonna try to freaking tie me down, and I'm like, no. I know a lot of people are making all this money off of my name. And that's not going to happen. I'm going to go back through the books and I'm going to find out who made who and what they, and then I'm going to extract my capital back by what I believe I will take. And if it is within what I believe it is, the brand, which will be the amount of money that I take back and the person's behavior. Because I own my name. That's why those guys would sit there in the 1960s with their signs, "I'm a man." That's why you have in this, in the lynching, they put the people's names, that they're human. And you're trying to do the same thing to me? Nah, not gonna have it. Can't do that. Can't do that. Can't let you do that. Nope. Because I would win the battle and lose the war. I want you, sir, to go down in history. As history is written. Joseph R. Biden, the president who saved the Constitution without a civil war. The president who opened up America to 100 years of prosperity. What say ye? On that book you shall be read. What shall your name say, sir? Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Here stands in front, all to hear and know. History's book is open. Where shall your name be written? How shall it be written? And what words shall it be written of you? Do you believe in the faith of humanity, in the faith of your own heart, and in who you are? Do you believe in the Constitution? Do you believe we as the people rule the United States of America? Regardless of color, class, or whatever other silliness those of weaker and lesser than try to place people into. The people must have their voice. Their people must have their power. But only the people can speak their voice. And only the people can possess their power. Madam Speaker Pelosi, the January 6th Select Committee has not, well, we still have to wait until Tuesday until the Georgia runoffs are complete. Upon that next day, the former President of the United States has said he is above the law. He is above Congress. He is above the people. This is the United States of America, and we do not have kings. It is your constitutional duty to bring to the floor a vote after the people have spoken in Georgia. The former president and the vice president of the United States to tell an accounting of their behavior, or why they believe, or why he believed he had the authority and right to tell the people what they shall do. That is not how this works. He shall be brought in, and he will sit down in front of the January 6th committee, and you will bring him in through the powers of inherent contempt of Congress for the attempted overthrow of the Constitution of the United States of America. Or I should say, not attempted. Well, yeah, because it's still overthrown. Because Congress has not acted to reassert itself in precedent. Evil exists in this world when good men and women do nothing. And right now, good men and women have done nothing. And the worst part is many of those good men and women, or supposed good men and women, swore an oath that they have breached horribly and defiled the idea and the ideal of we, the people. Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, all McMad, Mr. Rose, you say you ourselves men. History has now spoken, but you have not acted as such. The people must set straight and return the Constitution to its rightful owners, we, the people. And in order to do so, we must hold Congress to an account and hold their feet to the fire to do what is right, and to make those who think they would take power from the people pay dearly by rebalancing the scales, which means first bringing a former president in, then passing laws to help us, to help rebuild this country that they have stolen so much from. And we only have 4 weeks to get this done. And it must be for everyone. History is spoken. History is called. Only the brave and the few answer that call, not the many and the weak. Are you one of the few and of the brave? What shall be written of your name? Slava Ukraine. Glory to the heroes. Glory to democracy. And may the flag forever wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave.